So actually, it kind of leads into our conversation a little bit because we're talking about life. And Dad, this is gonna sound horrible. You ready?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am. As long as you're not talking about my life.
Well, I guess I kind of am. But Dad, we're gonna die one day.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. And I was talking actually when we were on our way up. I was talking to Ayla. And I was like, I'm 28 years old, right? And that's not nothing to kind of be like, oh, you're getting so old. It's not like that's still kind of young, right? 20
Mm-hmm.
years old, young. So, but when I was 20 or 23, I feel like I had so much life ahead of me, right? It was just like, oh, I got time to do everything. Now that I'm knocking on the door of 30, I'm like, dang, I'm about to be 30. And then when I think about 30, it's like, dang, I'm only 10 years away from being 40. And then thinking about 40, I'm like, dang, I'm only 10 years away from being 50. And then thinking about like Dez is about to just turn 2. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, we were talking about things that we're gonna try to do next fall. I'm like, dang, he's gonna be 3 next year. Like, it's just time is moving so fast, and it just made me think about like the purpose of doing all this stuff, like upgrading the gym. And so I'm gonna be completely transparent, right? Okay, I spent a lot of money this month on things on the gym that probably didn't have to be spent on right now, but I did it. And it's because I'm trying to prepare this gym to be like what I really need it to be early. So when I moved into the church was like a growth, right? I
Mm-hmm.
was okay with, some things missing, some aspects, but I'm in a position now where there's a lot of people coming in and I'm in the driver's seat of trying to help these people reach their goals. And so what I want to do is when people come in, they can just start growing right now. They don't have to wait for certain things to come in. I don't have to be like, oh shoot, in a couple of weeks this is going to be here, this is going to be like no. And so right now the gym is like fully equipped with everything I really need. There's a couple things I just need to do as far as like cosmetic wise.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the equipment in there, everything's there. But it made me think of the purpose. Like what I'm trying to do is grow this business, even like the podcast too, is so when I die, whenever that happens, I can be able to leave a legacy for Dez and then the people that come after Dez in Weston.
Mm-hmm.
And so and that's what just kind of made me think is that we always talk about what is your why, like why do you do the things that you do. And I know it's biblical. I can't remember exactly where it says, but God talks about generational wealth for your children's children. And sometimes you can read that as far as like spiritually, like teaching your kids like how to come up in Christ, how to lean on God's understanding, or how to trust God, and how to, the salvation and all that other stuff. But I also think it's also um, livelihood too. And so we was talking earlier, and I was telling you like all this stuff. Like if I die today, I would like to have something where it transfers over. It goes over to like Ayla and the kids and stuff like that. And so, and that's kind of where like my headspace is at with trying to kind of push the envelope with this training facility. And so, like with that new type of mindset, I was thinking about the other day too, or like yesterday, is like some stuff that I want to put on the back burner. I feel like I don't have time to really put on the back burner because you never know when you're gonna, it's your time. And so, like if I die today, am I comfortable enough where the growth and the things that are happening for Ayla and the boys to be taken care of? And so that's my kind of like my mindset now is that every step that I take has to be like preparation for the people that come after me.
Well, if you think back, it's been what 2.5, 3 years now that I started doing the martial arts training again.
Mm-hmm.
But prior to that, I didn't do it because you guys coming up, and I delved into studying relationship with God and growing in that aspect, because that's the legacy that I want to leave with you, your mom, and my kids and my grandkids. In doing so, I believe that the blessings of all those things is because he says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and
Mm-hmm.
all these things will be added unto you."
Yeah.
So if you looking at building the things first and not the kingdom, you'll have it in reverse.
Mm.
and you may have turmoil, you know, if you forget that aspect of it. And I think you're doing it right. But there's just now you're maturing now, and you have different questions now. You have different focus. That's because of maturity. And so you're now realizing stuff now that you didn't at 20 years old.
Yeah.
And so the question is how are you going to prepare that legacy for after you're gone? Because you want to take care of your children's children. And I was just thinking about this, D. Des and Weston won't know or remember their great grandfathers, because they wasn't here.
Yeah.
And so it's up to us to pass down their stories, pass down the things they taught us. And because my great grandfather, I met him one time. No, first time I met him is when at his funeral. My great grandmother I met one time. But the stories that I have, even though I wasn't brought up around them, I know these things about them.
Because it was passed down.
It was passed down because I heard a conversation of this guy talking to somebody about how do we know the Bible is true, and how we know that Jesus is real and all that. It's because of the evidence of the individuals who were there. They wrote this stuff down and it was passed down. That's the way we have to do in our genealogy, the legacy, our traditions, and our family. Pass that stuff down. The biblical part, you pass down, as well as the life and the wealth and all that.
Hey, should I not tell people, like the people that come after me, like how cheap you guys were? Like, or should that be part of the package?
What you mean you was cheap? You didn't miss no meals.
That's true. I didn't, right?
You had a lot of wants. They weren't needs.
Let me explain something. This is what happened. I'm gonna talk about what my gray couch time. Where's the hold on.
Story time with D.
There we go. Story time. I remember, I think it was 2004. I don't remember what grade I was in, but the new Madden came out. Mike Vick, I believe, was on the cover. I was so excited about this game. I was like, Dad, we got to get this. I want this game, Madden 2004. Okay? It's 2003, and I think 2004 came out. You know what you got me? You got me a Madden that was nowhere near that. I don't even think it was Madden.
They were used games.
Yeah. I think it was just football.
I'm like, them things at the time, those games like $60.
Yeah.
I'm not spending those $60 on these things, and you have them thrown all over the place.
Cheap.
It wasn't cheap.
Cheap. That's what I'm talking about. Do I pass that down? Legacy, be like, hey, your grandfather was dedicated in the church. He was a Hall of Famer in karate, and he was also cheap.
No. What you pass down is what you learned how to save to buy those things that you want. That's what you pass down.
Nah, I don't think so. I like my story better.
Yeah. Because I remember going to a store with you one time, and you were looking to buy something. You were like, if I buy this, I won't have this much money left. And you were like, nah, I'm not going to buy it. But I must confess, I remember you talked about you wanted to buy a cell phone.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us.
Was it the iPhone 4?
It was. I don't know what iPhone it was, but it was an iPhone.
And the phone was like $500.
Nope, I think it was like 800 or 9. It might have been
No,
1,000.
it wasn't that much. It was either 600 at the most.
Well, regardless, whatever it was expensive.
Yeah, and I was like, D, why don't you just get a phone that you can use instead of spending all that on that? And you say, Dad, that's the phone I want. And I said, yeah, that's the phone you want, but that's not the phone you need. Then you said, Dad,
tell it.
You told me to save for the things that I want.
Amen, brother.
And I said, D, you're right.
Yep, that's the only time in my life you ever said I was right.
You save for it, go get your phone, man.
Yep.
And that's what you pass on. Save with a purpose.
Yeah. So, question. Okay. All right. So I do that now, right? Everything
Uh-huh.
that I want, I kind of save for it. And just say I'm just gonna use a Ferrari for example, right?
Okay.
This whole situation may sound stupid, whatever. I save for this specific car. It costs a lot of money, 200,000, 300,000, and I buy the car. I pass the car down to after I pass away, because we're talking about leaving, a legacy. I
Hmm.
pass the car down. To me, that's a good thing, right? And so, okay, let me clear it up this way, right? I think a lot of times we judge people that buy certain things, like they buy a $4 million house, they buy a very expensive car, or whatever. But I think it's also the intent behind it. Like if I buy a car, right, and understanding that one day that I may die and this car is going to pass on to my kids, they can use the car, they can sell the car, whatever. But I think it could be a benefit, right? Like, I don't think those type of material things is not always necessarily bad. I think it depends on the intent of it. Like,
Well,
I might be reaching on that one.
well, I've seen where individuals who had businesses. I remember the guy Richard who owned the Manor,
Mm,
a banquet hall,
mm,
and he wanted to pass down to his kids, but his kids didn't want no part of it,
mm-hmm.
and so he ended up selling it to us because they didn't want part of it. That's the challenge that you have. You have to weigh and see what mindset your kids have.
Well, that's gonna be my second question. It's like, yes, say I have this expensive car that goes really fast, and Dez can't handle his regular car that he has now. Like he's getting speeding tickets. Is it still wrong to take stuff like that and pass it down? Or like even if like the business, I had a conversation with somebody one time, and we was just talking about, oh, if you died, where would you put certain things? I was like, these certain people won't have certain things because I don't think they would be able to take care of it. Is that wrong to think of it that way? Like, you say that Weston, okay, Dez in the car, and you say Weston has a spending problem, and I leave $1 million left, and I understand that he has issues with money, and I don't leave it to him. Am I wrong for that? Because like the goal is to leave them with something, right?
Yeah, but they have to appreciate it. They have to do what's right. What you probably want to do is how you leave it to them. And I've just been looking at this. Some people, what they do, at least wealthy people, they put things in a trust as opposed to leaving them a house and leaving them this money and that because the taxes that they have to pay on it, if it's over a certain amount. So the best thing to do is some type of trust, and you can put stipulations on it. So if say you have a Ferrari, you can say if they graduate in college, they get this, or if in a trust, upon reaching 18, they'll get so much money a month.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can
Yeah.
do stuff like that. And that's to be the smart part of a way of doing it.
Mm.
And that's option because, like I said before in Proverbs 17:16, what use is money in the hand of a fool since he has no desire to get wisdom? So if you have a spending problem, one of your kids have a spending problem, leaving that amount of money to them might be a detriment to them.
Yeah. If you die today, you think you'd be satisfied with how you lived so far?
Yes, I don't think I have any regrets because the pain or the good things or the trials or the tribulations or those helped me to grow.
Yeah.
Those brought me closer to God. Those helped me with planning and looking at things in different perspectives. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm not where I used to be, and so what I pass on to my kids is what's important.
Yeah.
And just like me doing the training and stuff now, all the accolades and all the awards I won, that means nothing unless I'm passing it on.
Yeah.
I want someone else to make their achievements, have the achievements I have in life and in the martial arts and in my biblical studies, and so they grow closer to God.
Huh.
So the things that you do for yourself, just for yourself, that won't last.
Yeah.
but the things that I pass on to you, and there's going to be things that I said that, or processes that I have, or things that I do that you may not like or agree with, but after I'm gone, you may appreciate it.
Like you calling me asking like how to upload a video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we have to start thinking like that, because we do a lot of things for ourselves because I want to go in business. I want to do this. I want to do that. Well, why do I want to do that?
Now, okay, the question I asked you, right, is if you died today, are you satisfied with how you lived? I guess like in God's eyes, right? Do you think it's easy to have a cop out answer for that for most people? Or most people like may not be living the way they're supposed to, may not capitalize on the opportunities that God has presented them, or like may even be like shying away from doing things for God or with God or putting God in the forefront. You think it's easy for people to have a cop out answer for that? And then how do you know if like you're one of those people that just like, whoa, yeah, man, if I die today, I'm satisfied when they, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but I don't know if it'd be a cop out or they just don't know,
mhm.
because you don't know what you don't know. And so if most people attribute that to having a lot of money. No, I didn't, I wasn't rich, so I didn't live the life that I wanted to.
Yeah,
They associate it with money, but it's much more than money.
yeah,
I mean, the relationship your mom and have, or that we have, almost 36 years,
yeah.
in these times today, a lot of people can't say that.
So if anyone dies today, anyone can just be like, oh shoot, I lived my life to the fullest. Like,
What is the fullest? What does that mean?
but that's what I'm saying. Like, because that's why I was asking about like a cop out. Like, if someone like right now, I haven't felt like I lived my life to the fullest of everything I could do. But if I did, but I still did a decent amount of stuff. I think like you impact one person's life is beneficial, right? But
Yeah.
like I feel like I've done that, and so if I die today, can I seriously sit down and be like, I lived the life that I was supposed to live, or like you know.
I don't think when we pass away, we're like, man, I never got to see the Grand Canyon. It,
I mean, not
it
that,
ain't like that.
not like that, yeah, but like I don't know, like instead of like I could have done more stuff with ministry, I could have done stuff more to church, I could have done more stuff on the job, I could have done much stuff with relationships. Like if I died today, is it easy to be like,
Well,
well, I did everything I was supposed to do, but I didn't really do everything I was supposed to.
well, well, I don't think. I don't know when you get to heaven. Those of us who've been called and will be in heaven, we're going to be shown our life, and we'll probably see the things that we could have did if we had more faith or we was more obedient. But then the question is, well, what does that mean now for me? How would I be more obedient? Where's the balance in the life to in ministry and family, and recreation and you can get somebody can be real legalistic and say, you got to do all this for God and do that and all that. I just live my life and I study and I pass on because I think about all the track athletes I have, all the karate students I have, all the coaches I have, the jobs that I have, and things that I've learned from other people. But what makes me think about those things is the things that I pass on and see other people now doing, or they gain a new perspective because of what I've shared with them. Like when Devin calls me sometimes and asks me for advice, and I see some of my former students who are doing certain things or athletes who's doing certain things that we talk about, and it's crazy that they now have families and stuff now,
Yeah.
and they said, I remember when you told me this.
So I have two questions,
Okay.
and I hope I don't forget them. But the first question is, do you think when we die, no matter your circumstance, no matter how you lived, what your thought process was, if you was a believer, non-believer, you think when someone dies, God is saying that you did everything you were supposed to do here on earth?
No,
No?
I don't. I don't think so. Because because of sin. We're not perfect, so doing everything you're supposed to do, whatever that might be. But
Oh, maybe
realizing,
maybe you can be you being that disobedient where God's like, yeah, you might as well just come on.
well, and because I always think about my mom, and my dad just, hasn't been 2 years yet. You think about, man, if I only did this, or could I did this, or could I said that,
Yeah.
who knows? And I remember sharing the gospel with my dad, and I remember when my mom came to church. We can get really in the mode of thinking that we have to save somebody, but that's not our job.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm of the mindset is, look, okay, I had all these accomplishments in karate. So I want to train. I started training and coaching people.
Right.
I can't pull anybody kicking and screaming to success. I
No,
can
it's
only
impossible.
lay down the roadmap and see who's following it.
Yeah.
And that's how we're doing it. But a lot of times we'll want it so much more for someone else than they want it for themselves.
Yeah. So my second question is, do you believe Tori and I are the way that we are and we have the successes that we may have, or like even like some things that we're not so successful at? You think we had those certain things because of you and mom's obedience to God? Like you think like the progression of like the gym or like things that Tori's doing, like you think all that stuff is stems off of your guys' obedience?
I think you get some patterns, you get some of the traditions, you get some of the processes from us, but ultimately is God that's giving you the success. And what you adopt from us about him, in which you apply it, that makes the difference.
Yeah, but do you think it's a blessing for us because of your obedience? Like we're being blessed because of our parents' obedience in the Lord. But then again, I guess you see opposite situations where like parents are devout and they're obedient, and
And their kids are not.
yeah, and their kids are not. So.
Right. It's what we do to help you understand the relationship with God and the benefit of it.
And then doing it ourselves.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And that's the difference. Because there's people who spend a lot of time in the church, whether they're a pastor, elder, deacon, or ministry leader or whatever, but their kids want nothing to do with the church. I mean, Eli's boy,
Yeah.
they were off the hook,
Yeah.
and they were having sex with the women at the church and doing things that the priest and stuff not supposed to do, and God took them out.
Yeah.
But even though Eli was
Obedient.
right,
Yeah.
so that is my hope and prayer that you adopt those things enough to teach Weston and Des that they have a desire to have a relationship with God, so they can pass on to their kids.
I can't wait for them to ask for the new Madden. They go get the same one that I got. They're gonna be like, Dad, why are you getting the 2004? Like, that's what my dad did. You did it too.
But I've seen kids who, man, well, you talked about it one time. The kids who are disobedient, they're disrespectful to their parents because the parents gave them everything.
Yeah, it's wild. It's actually, I've seen stuff firsthand, like in the gym.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I think you'll grow them better if they work for something,
Yeah.
instead of you giving it to them. And we all want our kids to have things, but you have to keep that in perspective.
Yeah. You know what's cool about like this century is that we can do stuff like this, record a podcast, and in like 50 years, like, I guess you say you're like offspring, I guess. Was it offspring? Generations?
Yeah.
But they can come on here and be like, dang, that's my great, 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 great granddad, like talking all this stuff and like talking about like not buying his son stuff, and now we doing it.
But
Like,
you know what's crazy? I was just thinking that because I was talking to someone today at church, and I was talking about how things change, because we're thinking about starting the Sunday school up again because people have been asking me to start teaching again in space. And I was saying that when we stopped in 2019 or 2020 because of the pandemic,
yeah,
some of the people, it grew to having about 30 people there coming on Sunday to the Sunday school. Some of those people had passed on.
oh yeah, yeah, that is, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's a couple actually.
They had passed on. And the person I was talking to, they said, yeah, I was just going through my phone and Lenny Burke's number was in there,
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I was thinking about it because I was like, we have an episode with Lenny Burke on it.
Right before.
Yep. And we can go back, or his family can go back and listen to him.
Yeah. And that's what's so dope about this. So like my personal Instagram page, if I'm being fully transparent, I wanted to grow my page to be crazy, right? I wanted, all the followers, like all this stuff. I don't even think about that anymore. I don't post like at first I was posting like every 2 days like you're supposed to. For my business pages, I do that.
Mm-hmm.
But for my personal page, I post when I kind of want to post.
Mm-hmm.
And so my whole thought process now is that like I just want to have my platform, whatever. I don't care if it gets 2 likes. I don't care if it gets 1,000 likes. Like I just want my platform to be my platform, and I can go back and see like what life was like. And Ayla and I always talk about like living in the moment, kind of, and then remembering like when Weston was 1. Or about to turn 1, or when Desi turned 2, like stuff like that I'll forget next week. And so, but I can go back through like social media and be like, oh shoot, this what happened here. And so like my social media page now is all like family stuff, like our little weekend trips, just pictures, that type of stuff. It has some stuff to do with like stuff with the gym and all this other stuff because it's part of our life, but like everything is personal life. And it's because I like to go back in like 20 years and be able to see like, oh shoot, I was here. And so what I have too since 2017, I have a video log. I don't think I never told anybody that. Now the whole world is gonna freaking know. But, I have a video log, and from 2017 to now, and like every couple of months or so, I just go in there, I update it. And it's weird because I went all the way back to 2017, and I think I spent like 2 hours one day going through them because there's so many. And I was watching them, seeing what my mindset was in 2017, like spiritually and mentally, emotionally, seeing what I thought no negations were going to go, what I thought training was going to go. Because when I first started doing the video logs, I was working for somebody else.
Right.
Like seeing like all those different changes and how things shaped and all this other stuff till now is crazy. And so, but I think it's important to see different things like that because you can see like your growth over time. And then sometimes you give yourself a little bit of slack. It's like, dang, I may not be perfect now, but this is, like you said, this is where I was at before. Like spiritually, I was here before, but this is where I'm at now.
You know what's really going to hit you emotionally?
Can I guess?
What?
When the boys graduate, they get married.
It's when they have kids. D.
Well,
Think about it. I've watched you being born. I've watched you grow up. Now you have a family. You have a wife. You have a house. You got a mortgage. You have a business. You have 2 kids.
yeah.
And to watch you operate and understand, because I remember that episode, you said, nah, Dad, I don't think it's going to change like that. And you and Ayla was like, no. And I said, kids are inherently selfish. No, I know kids like that. And then you see Dad snatching stuff from Wes,
Yeah.
But it's when you see that and realize it and you grow from that, that's when it's going to be freaking you out.
You listed a lot of things. The only thing in there that sound good was just having the boys. Everything else is stressful. No, I'm just kidding.
But that's what life is about. And understand the circle of life and that we're not going to be here forever.
Yeah.
And understand that in this life, we have to prepare our family biblically in relationship wise with God. And that's what I want to do. That's why in Deuteronomy tell you, Said, talk about it at the table. You know, tie it on the doorpost. You know, that's the stuff. And those nuggets that you pick up, you're not picking up all of them, but you're going to pick up some of them.
Yeah.
And then you're going to understand. You're going to say, wait a minute, there's more nuggets out there. So you're going to go back. Why? Because you have 2 boys and a wife, you know, and to see your mindset and being protective of Ayla and the kids, that's a transition from the little D that I know, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And so that's what's important. You know, life is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's how you deal with it.